Our first mistake comes from Stevie. Wow. Okay.
I'm surprised that was a mistake. I was expecting it to mix that size.
Okay, welcome everybody to our first episode here on Octopi Poker of GTO Duel. And of course, as you guys can see, we're joined by our co-founder, Mr. Stephen Chidwick. Welcome, Stevie. How are you doing?
Doing good.
We're going to have Stevie on board today for a challenge featuring one of our stars of our GTO challenges on the Discord channel, Shundan. So welcome, Shundan.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to beat Stephen in this challenge.
Great. I'm glad we got some competitive spirit going already. Excellent. To give a little bit of an explanation of how the format's going to work for the audience, basically it's going to be both players playing against George, our resident octopus friend, and the operator of the Octopi trainer. Each player is going to go back and forth, making one decision after another. The winning player is going to be the one who outlasts the other, basically. So you're going to bust here if you make one blunder or 3 mistakes. And we're going to be a bit generous with the mistakes. If it's what the trainer class is as a 0% mistake, we're not going to count it as a mistake. But if you reach that limit of that number of mistakes, then you lose, and whoever is the opponent is going to be the winner. And we're going to have some prizes for the winners as well. We've got some PokerGo subscriptions. We're going to have multiple players who are taking a shot at Stevie over the course of the next couple of days, and I'm looking forward to seeing if anybody can take you down, Stevie.
Me too. Should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shundan, why don't you tell us first of all what spot you've chosen that you want to look at as our challenge for today, so that I can load it up in the trainer right here.
The spot I chose was hijack versus big blind single raise pot.
Yep. Okay.
6 big blind deep.
60. Okay. Hijack, big blind, and we're going to be this is post flop, right?
Post flop.
Yep. Okay, so 60, hijack, big blind, single raise pot.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good. So let's go save and train. And like I say, we're going to be going decision by decision here. So we're going to see how each player handles the lines that the other player is taking. It's going to be interesting. So our first spot, we get a flop of 6-5-5 2 clubs. We have pocket kings. Shundan, you're up first. What's the decision going to be here?
Yeah, we have overpair on this board. We don't have a club. And the 5s, big blind has a lot of 5s. I think we can bet small, like 1.5 big blind. We can also check for sure, but like I guess which one is harder? I guess I'll check so Stephen can have.
Okay, so you're gonna play the check line. All right, let's see. Let's hit the check button. And okay, yep, we do have pretty much a mix here. We've got 51-49 range wise or hand wise, and 56-44 range wise. So pretty accurate with that one. And then on the turn we get this 9 of clubs, and George leads out for about half pot here. Stevie, you're up.
All right. Well, we can definitely play some raises in this spot. The board obviously favors the big blind in terms of he has more 9x, 6x, straights, etc. So we're kind of in a defensive mode, but we could certainly have some hands we could raise. I think this hand will raise a good bit, but this time I will call. I think call is the majority play.
All right, let's hit the call then. And we're good, 99% call. So naturally, pretty straightforward. Okay, Shundan, you banked the river. You banked a king on the river. So we now make top full house. And George bets the B75 option. Any thoughts on this one?
Oh, we're definitely gonna raise it. It's just like how much we raise. I feel I may make a mistake here. So like I'm thinking between raising a large size to 40.7 or just jam. Like let me think. So if we jam, we call this. So the jam is less than 100% raise. I'll just jam.
Okay, we're jamming. All right, let's see. Jamming is good. It's a pure jam. So we basically nailed that one. Both you guys, no one made any mistakes so far. So perfect decisions all around. And let's move on to the next hand. So we get another paired board here, 9-9-6, 2 diamonds. George once again checks. And now we have king jack offsuit, no diamond. Stevie, what's the play here?
It's another board where we can check or bet. I'll return the favor and go with the check.
Okay, so we're gonna hit the check button. Yeah, okay. Lowish frequency, but yeah, kind of kind of king jack playing, but pretty much the same way our range does here. And then we get a 4 of clubs turn and another half pot donk bet from George here. What do we think, Shundan?
I mean, like, I guess facing a half pot bet, we're supposed to fold 33% of our range. When we're in position, we may be able to fold a little bit less. But given the board run out, it's just so bad for our range. And we don't even have a diamond in our hand. I will just fold this combo.
Okay, I'm going to hit the fold button. And it's a mix. It's surprising, maybe a little bit of a surprising mix there. But yeah, we do fold 39% of the time. So we're all good in that regard. And let's move on to our next hand. This time we get a very different board texture. We got Jack 6-3 rainbow, and we have pocket tens. So Stevie, what are your thoughts?
These rainbow semi-disconnected boards, sometimes they play this check small bet or very big bet split, depending on kind of how close the cards are, how prevalent the straight draws are in the big blinds range. Since the 6 and 3 are pretty low, I don't think we're going to get too much of the 7.6 size. I think we're mostly going to be playing Jack and the smallest size, and I will go with a bet this time. So 1.5 big blinds, although I think it will check. Good bet.
Let's see. Oh, it's actually range bet.
I got lucky. Yeah.
Quite a bit of the big bet. A little bit surprised to see that, but yeah. Got a lot of big bet going on there, but we did find a small bet with the tens, obviously completely reasonable. And now we get check raise. So Shundan is our first player to face a check raise here. What are your thoughts on this one, Shundan?
I think this one's quite easy. I'm never going to fold my pocket tens here with this raise, not even like pot size. Yeah, I'm going to just call here.
Okay, we're going to hit call. And yep, it's pure call with even not pure call, but like high frequency call with like even a tiny bit of click back raise here. That's a little bit interesting. But anyway, we get this 8 of clubs turn. So kind of a brickish sort of turn, doesn't really change anything. And George checks. So now, Stevie, what are we thinking here?
I'm thinking this check raise and then check line is typically has a lot of give ups in it. And when that's the case, we tend to favor the smaller size, kind of small size, high frequency bet in position, protect our hand, get those overfolds. But the tens aren't too vulnerable. I think they'll be a hand that we check back quite often. I kind of like to check and hope that we face a big bet on the river. So Shundan's
okay. All right, let's hit the check and let's see. We are, high frequency check. We did face a bet, but it's a fairly small one. So we got the King of Clubs river, and George bets about B30 here. So Shundan, what are your thoughts?
Wow, this one's tricky. We got check raise on the flop, and we're not blocking any jack X. I guess we blocked 10 jack. And George has a lot of jack X. It's a blocking bet for sure. With the king on the river, we do have some king X that would have called the flop check raise because we're range betting the flop. Definitely. I guess if we get a up here on the river, we would raise this like blocking bet. So 10x, I feel pretty much indifferent. I would just call.
Okay, let's hit the call button. And it is actually pure call. Yeah, so a little bit too high up in our range to fold here. We do fold some 7s, 5s, 4s, some stuff like that, but looks like I think it might be the difference maker here that we beat an 8 if an 8 is in there at some frequency here, because you can see that we don't fold any 9-8, queen 8, that sort of stuff. So 10's pretty strong here, doesn't fold. So we did make another good decision there. So no mistakes from anybody so far. You guys are pretty good at this game. All right, now we flop trips. We get 6-4-4 rainbow. Once again, George checks. What are we doing here, Stevie?
No checking anymore. I don't think we're going to have a size other than the smallest one, so I'll go B25.
All right, so we're going to get some value here. And it is pure bet with this combo. We do have a decent chunk of checking with range, but this hand is way too strong to check. And we face a check raise once again. So Shundan, we have trips now, a little bit different to that 10 spot. What are we thinking in response to the check raise here?
Yeah, I think our range mostly just want to call here. Our range has a lot of overpair. Just to protect our calling range, I'll just call with trips as well.
Okay, so we're just going to call. And We actually do mix quite a bit of some clickback here. There's a surprising amount of clickback on some of these paired boards, I think, a lot of the time. So there is a certain amount of incentive to deny some equity to some of those overcards, things like that. You can see a lot of those overpairs are favoring some clickbacks. So interesting board, interesting spot, but obviously ace-4 suited going to do fine as a call as well. And now we see this deuce of spades turn that does complete a straight and also puts a flush draw out there. And once again, George comes with his favorite half pot bet. Stevie, what are we thinking here?
Thinking if I were to raise, I would like a bit smaller of a size than this, but overall, we're not going to do a whole lot of raising. We're up against a pretty polar range, and like Shundan says, we have a bunch of weaker hands that we want to kind of help get to showdown by including a lot of strong hands in calling range, so I'll just call again. Okay,
we're just calling. And that is pure call once again. And we get a 3 of hearts river. So tricky river. George checks. This is a tough one. Shundan, it's on you. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough. So like if I have some overpair here, I would, should I bet? Maybe some of them I'll still bet. So if I'm betting this river, I'd probably go half pot.
Okay.
Let me think. Like so is 1-5 to straight, and because George checked, he might have like some 6x. I think if he had a 4, he would bet and we'll block the 4x. I'll bet half pot here. I think we still can get some value from George.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the 14.7. So let's hit that one. And ooh, we're good. You're just about good. There's like a tiny frequency of it in here. Super low frequency. It actually prefers the B100 or the B75, but there's just enough of a frequency of the B50 in there that it does count as a non-mistake. It's a perfect play once again. So almost. We've had a couple of spots here where we've made some almost mistakes, but we still haven't had a mistake. George checks on this ace, queen, 8, 2 diamonds, and we have the king, 9 of clubs. Stevie, what are your thoughts here?
So it's a board that's pretty good for us, pretty draw heavy. So I think we're going to be using a lot of big size. Not too sure between the 2 big sizes, probably slightly more favoring the B75. So that's what I'll do.
Okay, let's go with that. And, ooh, 0.2% mistake. Our first mistake comes from Stevie. Wow, okay. So you mentioned before we started that you were a little rusty on your no limit because you've been playing a lot of PLO. So I guess we're seeing that right here. So our first mistake goes to Stevie. So it is 1-0 or 0-1 as opposed to Shundan right now. And now I guess this leaves our next decision with Shundan to find the correct play, because now we know that it's not a B75. So if it's not a B75, what is it? What do you think, Shundan?
It's a tricky one. Stevie did say like he's choosing between the 2 big size.
Okay.
Okay, let me think. Too much equity. George can continue. I'll just chose what Stevie said.
Okay. You want to go with the overbet size. Okay. That's a 0.5% mistake. Wow. Okay.
I tricked you.
You did.
I actually really did 2 mistakes for considering both of those.
Next level of tricking someone into making a second mistake. All right. So we now have, we know it's not B75 or B125. Now 1-1 on the scoreboard. What do we think here, Stevie? If both the options that you thought were going to be the case previously are now off the board.
I'm gonna go with the small bet. I'm not gonna shove
go with the small bet. Okay.
I'm gonna put some money in the pot.
All right. It is, yeah. So a high frequency small bet. There is quite a lot of B75 with range, just not with this exact combo. So interesting breakdown as far as that one. That one would be one that would be if we ran into this during a regular kind of a training session here, it would certainly be worth investigating collectively to kind of figure out how we arrived at a couple of mistakes here. But we did come with the small bet in the end, and we got it right. So scoreboard is still at 1-1. Shundan, we get this queen of spades turn. And what do you think on this one?
I think since we only bet small and George can continue quite wide on that flop, but still our hand is just like really bad and no equity, not much equity, since the queen also paired. So we cannot like get the king and, like bad beat George with the queen anymore. I probably check this turn.
Okay. Yeah. Gonna hit the check. And it is, yep, check is good. So we're mixing checks and the B50 size there. And then we get the Jack of Hearts river. George comes with about B75-ish. And we have just a king high here. Stevie, are we doing anything except folding, or are we just folding our king high?
Obviously, we have a couple of blockers to straights, but typically to bluff raise the river, I think we'd want to have, I think having a jack, so king jack or jack 10 would be probably most of our bluffs, representing, like matching our pocket jacks, which is kind of a primary hand that we would play this way and raise. I don't think the king nine of clubs is going to do anything other than fold.
Okay, so let's hit the fold, and yep, fold. Ooh, well, technically it's 99% fold, so it's doing 1% of something else. It looks like it's probably the all-in, but just some margin for error stuff there. And let's move on. Another paired board on the 4 deuce deuce rainbow, and we have pocket jacks. Shundan, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna bet this combo. This is a pair board, but like George is not gonna have a lot of deuce. I think we can definitely bet a little bit big here, because we would have like pocket 5s, pocket 6 may want to bet bigger, but like just to be safer, I just bet small.
Ooh, okay. We bet small. Yeah, there's no big bets at all here. I thought we were on the verge of potentially having our first blunder there. You were pretty close. Like the big bet actually wouldn't be, the B75 wouldn't be an EV loss here, but the B125 definitely would be. You can see it's 9.3 down to 9.21. So the B75 would have been okay as far as the parameters of this challenge. We probably wouldn't have given you a mistake for that, but it isn't actually really part of the strategy here. So we're just going to move on, and we get another one now where in this case we've got another low board, but it's not paired. 8 7 deuce 2 hearts, and we have king 10 off, no heart. What are we doing here, Stevie?
Definitely between the big sizes on this board, the two-tone nature pushes me more towards the B75, but the specifically 7-8 with a brick, there's so many one pair and straight draws that the big blind has that we don't, and that typically pushes us into the overbet size. We're going to have plenty of checking. We're definitely going to prefer having a heart in our hand to bet, or slightly lower cards, I think. Definitely could bet, but I'll check this one.
Okay, we're going to hit the check. And yep, we're kind of mixing check and overbet here. A little bit of B75 thrown in there too, but yep, we're all good. We do see a 10 of diamonds turn, interesting turn card, and George comes pretty small here. So, Shundan, what are our thoughts versus the small bet on this turn?
Yeah, I think there's two straight available, but there's also like double flush draw board, and George is betting so small, and that our 10x can like get some protection by raising, but in the same time we also have a king which is like over card to the 10. Yeah, I'll raise to the a little bit larger size, at least a 14.2 big blind.
Okay, let's go with that.
Wow.
Ooh, mistake, 0.8% mistake.
Wow.
So I'm surprised that was a mistake. I was expecting it to mix that size.
Interesting. Well, we went with the 127% raise instead of the 50%, and we did get a slight mistake. So, Stevie, what are we thinking here?
I was thinking that he is going to be betting this size with a lot of like pair plus straight draw type stuff. I thought the 14.2 big blinds was a good size to kind of target that and get money in the pot ahead before the board got worse for us. I would be surprised if it wasn't raising, but I was thinking that it would be using the big size rather than the 6.7. So I guess I'll be a bit safe and go with the call.
Okay. We hit the call, and it is actually very high frequency call with a little bit of the raise here, but not a ton. So we do have some of the raise 126 with range here, but it looks like it's more polar, and it's not really including a substantial amount of 10x. There's a tiny shred of jack 10 in there, but largely it's a lot of two pairs, some straights, some sets, but not really a lot of one pair in there. So interesting construction. And then we get a jack river after we call, and George makes another sort of smallish bet, 1/3-ish. What do you think here, Shundan?
Yeah, I feel like we might still beating some values, some smaller 10x, so we can just call here.
Okay, I'm going to hit call. And yep, it's pure call, 100% call, so nothing too much to say about that one. The next hand, we've got a monotone board. We haven't had one of these yet, so we've got a different kind of a spot. Obviously, monotone boards are pretty tricky, so Shundan, you've got one mistake left, so be careful about what you pick on this one. Stevie, we've got king 10 of clubs on 10-7-5. What are we doing here?
Yeah, monotone boards are notoriously tricky. I think that we're only going to be using the smallest size. Some checking on this board too, but I will bet 1.5 big blinds.
Okay. And yep, we're high frequency small bet here with both range and hand. Would be a little bit of an EV loss for either of the biggest sizes. So it looks like small is good and George just folds. So Shundan gets away with one, doesn't have to make a decision on a monotone board turn. This is a tricky one. 7-6 deuce, king jack offsuit. So offsuit high cards on a low card board. Shundan, what are we doing here?
Yeah, we can definitely bet like overpot or check. Steve had a similar board before, kind of similar. So there's a deuce here. I'll just go with the large size.
All right, let's see. Yep, it's not super high frequency, but it's in there. So we got a mix of small and big. So this is, I think, kind of mentioned, Stevie, you mentioned this earlier. These boards, sometimes we have this strategy of we go small or we go really big. We don't go with that kind of medium size in some of these types of situations. Looks like this is one of those. So we got that one, and we're going to move on again. This time we get Jack 10, 8 rainbow, Ace Jack. So Stevie.
Yeah, a little bit tricky. I think in game I might go with a kind of middle, like a B50 type size. It's
Okay.
a board that we don't have the queen 9 off or the 9-7 off, and he has both of those in his defending range. So even though the board hits us pretty well, we don't have proportionally as many straights. I think it's still going to be high frequency bet, and I think it's going to be between the two small sizes. I'll go with the smaller size and see if we get check raise.
The 1.5 big blinds. Yeah, actually no large betting here. Interesting. So just kind of mix of small and check. So yep, we did get that one. And we move on, and now we get another paired board. We've got Jack Deuce Deuce. We have Ace King this time. So what are you thinking about this one, Shundan?
Yeah, I think we can go check or bet small. Bet small is safer. Just bet small.
Okay, so we're gonna bet small because it's safer. All right. Yeah, it's actually range bet. So you're lucky you picked the safe option because there's no check in here. So we do get check raise this time, and this is Stevie's first opportunity to face a check raise, I think. So what are we doing here?
I'm certainly not folding. Ace King backdoor is a hand that sometimes plays very fast in these kinds of spots. I'm not sure this quite fits the archetype of the spot that's in my head. I'll be safe and just call.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the call. It is pure call, actually. So there's not really, even with range, there's not really any click back at all here. So now George checks once again on turn on a 10 of clubs turn. So we pick up a straight draw and a flush draw, and George checks to us. Now this is an interesting one, Shundan. What are we doing with this one?
Yeah, I think this one we can bet or check, because if we bet not like huge size, if we get raised, we can still raise him. But since the board is like deuce, jack 10, so the 10 is sort of adjacent to the jack, and the board is a little bit not too wide because we have all the drawers. I feel Ace King still have showdown. I mean, we can definitely bet small, like bet the small size, because it's check, raise, and check is like a lot of give up, as Steve said before. We can go bet the smaller size, like 5.5.
Okay,
yeah.
You're gonna go with that? All right, let's see. Mistake. Wow. Oh, wow. We have another mistake. So that is mistake number 3, unfortunately, which means we are at the finishing point now. Stevie, do you want to correct us on this one? What do you think this one is?
I think I got a bit lucky overall in this match. I think Shundan faced some tougher spots than I did overall. Here, I think he's going to have a good bit of Jack X that check raise the flop, like kind of medium to strong Jack X that doesn't necessarily want to play for stacks, but was kind of going for a thin check raise. And then he's going to have a bunch of 10X also that, the Queen 10 backdoor, King 10 backdoor, 10-9 backdoor type stuff is going to be fairly heavy raise on the flop too. I think when we're likely up against a bunch of weaker top pair and second pair hands, our size is going to be bigger. And I think we would kind of base our bet size around our hands that are kind of value hands, which are mostly going to be like ace jack and over pairs. I wouldn't even be surprised if we go 13.7 because I think deuce X is still unlikely enough that we're kind of still looking to play for stacks with Pocket Kings or whatever, I think I would look to be putting a lot of pressure on those 10x and weak jack x and go with the 13.7 size.
All right. That one is good. 13.7 it is. We're mixing high frequency of that with some checks as well. All right, so we river a flush. I mean, we're just jamming here, right, Stevie? And not really much reason to do anything different, would you say?
Yeah, I can't see any reason to do anything else.
Yep. There's a tiny bit of the half pot with range, but yeah, we're just jamming. Okay. So we came to the end of that hand, so I think that is a good spot to wrap it up for episode number 1 of GTO Duel. So thank you, Shundan, for being our first competitor. Unfortunately, we haven't taken down Stevie yet, but we're going to bring in some more competitors and see if anyone else wants to take a shot at him. So thanks for being part of this. Great job as well. You made some great decisions here, so it was really good to have you as our first contestant.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You played very well, and I definitely got a few things wrong that I got lucky didn't cost me with, I think I was playing a bit too passive and not enough of the small sizes, so a good reminder for me. Yeah,
it's funny, everyone in mid-stakes tournaments is like too much small size, and now here Stevie's out here not enough small size, so it's hard to get the balance of the small size right, I guess. But yeah, thank you, Shundan, thank you, Stevie, and we'll be back again soon with another episode, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to check out the software that Stephen and our other challengers are using to improve their game, the link is down in the description. See you in the next one.